What's going on, folks? This is Jamiel Cal-Pin of Cal-Pin Creations, and I'm here with another video to help you with your audio content creation journey. So I'm here to show you how you can make audio content, quality audio content on a budget. Whatever you're making, cost does not have to stop you from creating your next project. In this video, I'm going to give you some advice on buying new gear. And so these are 3 things that you need to remember before you buy the next thing, next piece of equipment, anything. These 3 things, keep in mind. All right, so let's get right into it, guys. When you're making any content, if you're doing any kind of content creation, we all need tools. We need resources. We need things to help us make what we need to make. And it's true even for audio content. So whether you're making a podcast, whether you're making music, you're doing voiceover, you need some equipment. And the thing is, when we're getting ready to go and buy some new equipment, or maybe we're buying equipment for the very first time, we want to make sure that we keep these 3 things in mind, because it's real easy to get lost, and it's also very easy to buy things that you probably don't need at all. So the first thing that you want to keep in mind is you want to know your budget. You got to know your budget and have a budget that you're working with. Unless, you're a millionaire out there and you can just randomly just ball out and just buy a lot of stuff. Hey, if that's you and that's your prerogative, go for it. But mainly on this channel, I'm assuming people are trying to create stuff and get started in this industry or creating anything that they want to make on a budget. Because, this may be a hobby, or if this is something that you're trying to learn and these are skills that you're trying to develop, you want to take the steps to actually get better and make sure you're making the right investments instead of just throwing your money to the wind. So the first thing to keep in mind is know your budget. Buying gear and tools to help you on your audio content creation journey can be fun. It really can be. Like I just recently had the opportunity to buy a new MIDI keyboard to go with my music production. And there's a video. I'll put a link somewhere. That you can, go and check that out. It can be fun and also a money drain if you're not careful. It's real easy to get caught up buying the next thing and the next thing when you probably don't need to. So it's good to know your budget. If you don't set a limit, it's real easy to spend a lot of money and be full of regrets after your receipts come back. Buyer's remorse. Having a budget can also limit your decision pool so that it's easier to choose the next thing you need to get. Make sure you have a budget to narrow your decisions and keep from spending too much. So yeah, like I mentioned before, unless you're a millionaire, which again, I'm going to assume that that's not the case right now. We're going to get there. I'm saying that for myself and I'm saying that for you. We're going to be wealthy, But that aside, limitations help with creativity, and limitations also help us to make decisions. So having a budget saying, I'm trying to get something for $50 or under $100 creates limitations so that we know what we're looking for. So for instance, this MIDI keyboard that I bought recently, I had a budget. I'm trying to get something that's under $200. And there are lots and lots and lots of different MIDI keyboards. But once I said, this is my budget, it got rid of a lot of other options. And it helped narrow down what I was looking for that can fit in my budget and also help me with the next thing that's on the list. Number 2 on the list, along with knowing and having a budget for when you're buying new equipment or anything like that, you need to know the purpose of why you're buying or getting what you're getting. Seriously, you need to know the why behind why you're getting what you're getting. So there's this thing in tech spaces called shiny new toy syndrome. And it's definitely a big thing when it comes to like music production and audio content creation. And the idea is every time you see an advertisement for a new microphone or a new program or any kind of new equipment, you feel like you got to get it. And, it doesn't help, especially during like the holidays and you're seeing a lot of advertisements or whatever. And it's always like, oh, if I can get this and it's on sale, if I get this, it's going to make everything a lot better. And falling victim to the shiny new toy syndrome isn't a good thing because you'll end up buying a lot of stuff, either spending a lot of money and buying a lot of stuff that you probably don't need at all, especially if you're working on starting and learning how to get into audio content creation, producing podcasts, making music, voiceover, those kind of things. Sometimes the best thing that you need to get started is what you already have or something that's a little bit more affordable for you to purchase. You don't have to run out and buy the most expensive thing just because somebody says, oh yeah, this is the best thing. That's not always the case. Shiny new toy syndrome is a very real thing. Sometimes we see ads for something that's supposed to make our podcast better, or our music, or anything we're creating monumentally better. And it's possible it could help. But if we don't have a clear purpose on why we're getting this gear, we can end up getting random stuff that costs us money and just takes up space. I've done this and it's frustrating. Like I remember I bought an adapter for that it was supposed to. It was supposed to be an adapter for my phone to connect to a TV. And I tried to do the best on my research to get this thing, and I bought it and it doesn't work. So like, I just have it. Like, I was somewhat clear on my purpose, but I didn't do enough research and I wasn't very clear enough for what I really needed it. So I got this adapter, it doesn't even work, and I can't even get rid of it now. And so, I mean, I'm sure I could throw it away, but I'm sure somebody else can have a use for it. So I got to figure out how I can, sell it or whatever. But oftentimes with what we're trying to do, we need to know why we're getting what we're getting. If you're starting a podcast, you may ask, well, what kind of mic do I need? Well, there's a purpose behind a microphone because you need to record yourself. Keeping that in mind, you may think, okay, well, what kind of podcast am I trying to record? Am I going to be outside? Maybe I need to get a certain type of microphone that'll help me when I'm recording outside compared to if I was recording inside. Things like that. That's important. You need to know the purpose behind it. Along with buying stuff and just having things without a purpose, there's also the buyer's remorse, which is heartbreaking. Make sure you know what purpose you're meeting in buying this equipment or this new gear or whatever. Even if it's software, make sure you're clear on that purpose. You don't want to collect useless things just because you think you need it. And the last thing, number 3, that you need to remember or think about when purchasing new equipment, new gear, or anything to help you in your audio content creation journey is to know the function. So you need to identify a budget. You need to identify the purpose behind what you're getting. And the third thing is function. And so what I mean by this is be careful of what you're getting, because some things that you get, there may be a learning curve to it, or the function or the way that piece of equipment or their software or their gear works. It may not work for your current setup. It may not help you with what you're trying to do. Again, I've also experienced this. I bought a microphone that I thought was really good. And actually it was a really good microphone. But at the time, it wasn't the most effective thing that I needed for my current setup. So my wife and I, we travel and we move around a lot and stuff. And this microphone is super, super sensitive, super sensitive. And it's a good high quality microphone. But the thing is, for the work that I do, I don't necessarily need that kind of microphone. I didn't need that particular microphone. And whenever I tried to use it, whether it was us traveling or where we were currently, where we're living or whatever, it wasn't helping. It was actually making things more frustrating, and it wasn't benefiting me in any way. And eventually, I sold the microphone because it wasn't serving a purpose. The functionality of it wasn't benefiting me. And, I had a budget when I got it. It fit my budget, but it just wasn't functioning the way that I needed it to function. And so you need to keep that in mind. You can buy a microphone or buy a certain software, and maybe you don't know how it works, or maybe it's too complex for you, or maybe it's not even made for, like, say you have a PC and you're trying to get a program that only works for Mac, or vice versa, Like, there are a lot of things that if we're not careful, we'll just buy something and it'll just sit there. Or we'll buy a piece of equipment and we need something else. And that can become a rabbit hole. You're just buying things and buying things just to meet something that, again, you probably really didn't need it. But because you didn't know the functionality of it, you weren't aware of how it functions and how it will function in your situation, now you just have stuff. You don't want that. You definitely don't want that. So that's it. The 3 things that you want to keep in mind before you make a purchase of equipment, gear, software, anything like that. 1, keep a budget. Keep a budget in mind. You want to have some limitations so that you can be clear on what you're trying to purchase. 2, be clear on the purpose of why you're getting it. Sure, there are a lot of nice things out there, but is it really serving a purpose for you and what you're trying to accomplish? And 3, functionality. Be aware of how this thing functions, and how will it function in what you're trying to do and what you're trying to accomplish. Thanks again for watching this video. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions about any audio content creation, whether it's podcasting, music, or anything related to that, leave the question in the comment below and let me know, which of these 3 things do you feel like you struggle with? Do you feel like you struggle with keeping a budget? Do you feel like you struggle with like having clear purpose and understanding of what you're getting? Or do you even struggle with the area of like functionality and the equipment that you're getting? So again, thank you guys. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe if you find this video helpful. And until next time, cost does not have to stop you from creating anything. I believe in you guys, so go out and create something. Till next time, peace.